Yeah, people, what's going on? We're back again with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about Arsenal versus Brentford preview. Also, rumors about Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham. Do we believe it? I don't know. I don't know about that one. Then we got to talk about Emile Smith Rowe and Gabriel Jesus updates to their injury. Mikel Arteta spilling the beans on Manchester City and what he knows. I'll tell you guys a little bit about that and the press conference and what's going on. Pep Guardiola is also losing his mind over there at Manchester City. Do Arsenal need to do some rotation and substitutions to some of these players earlier or potentially even start them earlier in the game? Against Brentford, we'll find out. And are you guys concerned about Brentford at home? Let me know your score predictions. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you guys think. Let's get this show started. We got Gunnar Souls. We got Harry coming through. It's going to be a good one. Let's get this show started. Yes, people. What's going on? So it just takes a couple seconds for YouTube to get send out all the videos to everyone. So make sure you do hit a goddamn like on the video if you're watching it on the playback or live, and make sure you leave a comment down below on what you thought about the topics that we're going to discuss. But yes, as we wait for Harry, we're gonna save the Brentford talk. But let's just get into some of the other stuff. Talk to me, bro. How you feeling about Arsenal right now, and just like everything that's going on? You feeling a little confident going to the next game?
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, it was easy to lose your head against Everton in the way that we played. Did feel like, okay, two losses on the bounce. Obviously, not getting into the Brentford game, but it is now the business end of the season where a lot of teams are fighting for pretty much what position they're in. Whether you're a relegation team, you're fighting to survive. Whether you're in those European contentions, you're trying to stay there and not allow the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea to take over. So it's one of those times where this is going to be the real test for Arsenal. This is the litmus test. This is the real test, in my opinion, in which it's going to build character for these players. Don't forget, the average age of this squad is still 24, and it's going to be something which they're going to learn. If look, we can be confident as fans. Like, I do believe we're going to go on to win the league. But if, for example, something happens and we don't win the league, it's a massive character building test for them. It's a massive mentality gain for them because they're young, and it's about how they fight back from this. And we've seen teams do this before where they go to the final, they get a taste of what it could feel like to win something, and they lose. And the very next season, they come back and they bounce back harder. And that's what we're getting. When we add the likes of Zinchenko, and this quotes that he comes out with, we're not here for top four, we're here to win the league. And that kind of mentality around the club, I'm loving it, man. I mean, when you listen to the player tribunal, from Martin Odegaard, I mean, I loved the guy before. I was one of those fans who wanted him over Madison. But when you listen to that video, when you really digest the quotes and his story of getting into football, the whole saga at Real Madrid, and how underappreciated he's been as a player in his journey, man, like the love and admiration. He is the personification of elite, like mentality, just the ability to play football. That is what you call elite. He is, in my opinion, going to go down as one of the greats in midfields because look at him at the age of 23, 24, not only captaining Arsenal Football Club to a league title, but he's also the captain of Norway. He is genuinely like I loved him before, as many people know, but man, I didn't think I could love this guy even more. He's getting there to becoming my all-time favorite player. And if he delivers that league title and a European league title, I can tell you what, he might go down as my favorite player of Arsenal all time. And that's saying a lot considering what we've had.
All
So
time.
yeah,
All time.
all-time favorite. Yeah.
That's a big call. Let's just look at some of the stuff about this because I'm not gonna lie, it didn't get enough coverage. Usually these things don't, like the Granit Xhaka one got way more coverage. I felt like Odegaard, the man behind the mask, the what was it, the adult footballer growing up and becoming as a leader, the moment he knew Arsenal could do something special this season, and what to do Everything perfect. Ooh. But yeah, there's just so many different things about him, man. I think Martin Odegaard this season has shown that he's an absolute revelation. Big up Harry in the house. Harry's joined us. It's been a while since Harry's been around. But yeah, let me just show you guys some of the things about this document, this article. So everyone has a perspective of me being really nice and calm at times, but I'm different person on the pitch. I get angry, I get frustrated, I have fire inside me, and this passion, this drives me to be the best to win. And this is just not one of the things, but many other things that he also spoke about. He spoke about on interest on him when he was younger. My dad handled everything. Bayern Munich, Dortmund, Manchester United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Arsenal all wanted him, but I actually was close to choosing Arsenal. He even said he was not just saying that, but when he was young, he even almost chose Arsenal. Then you have here, he's like, I spoke to Mikel Arteta in a Zoom call about the project when they're 15th in the table, and the challenge everyone wanted to come, and meeting with Arteta, not believing everything you tell. You know what? Even though we were in a bad situation, he still chose to come to us. He spoke about his dreams of playing at Arsenal, and the fact that he's living a dream at this moment in time, being the captain. And yeah, that article on the Players Tribune, you guys got to check it out. It's a really, really good article. But yeah, let's just take a moment to take it in and just talk about it. What do you guys think about it? By the way, Harry, welcome back. How are you? It's been a while. What do you think about
I'm good,
Odegaard's
bro.
article,
Good.
man?
Can you hear me okay, firstly?
Yes, yes, we can.
Hello, Egal. Hello, Souls. Yeah, I really liked the interview. I watched it this morning on their YouTube channel. I think it just speaks really, really highly of Arteta and the turnaround within the club. And I think Odegaard just comes across as a really dedicated individual, someone who's quite humble. I like when he talks about his upbringing and the AstroTurf pitch being so close to his house. So I think you can kind of see his captain quality. And I think just overall, I think he's been an incredible signing for us. And he's still at a really good age. And you can see how he's just like imposing himself on most of the games. I know he had a bit of a poor game against Everton, but overall, yeah, I was really impressed with the interview. And I've been really impressed with Odegaard. I think there was a lot of talk of Vieira taking over from him in the summer, and there was people kind of dismissing what Odegaard was doing. But this season, he's really stepped up in terms of his goals and his leadership. So yeah, long may it continue.
Boom. And yeah, so today I wanted to kind of go through some of the stuff that Mikel Arteta also mentioned in his interview. But Gunnar Souls, did you have anything else to say on Odegaard before we go
Yeah, I
on to the
mean,
next?
the thing is, a lot of fans, right? They become very ungrateful. It's the shiny new toy syndrome, and they forget what Odegaard actually brings. I mean, we've seen flashes of brilliance even last season of what he can bring to the table. And I've been saying it. If you think this is a good season, you're gonna be in for a surprise because this is, for me, him just getting started. There's so much more to his game that he needs to develop on. This isn't me bashing him or bringing down what he's done this season. But this is just me telling you from what I've seen. I've been following his career since the age of 16. If a lot of people don't know, my primary league that I watch is La Liga, and he was close to joining Barcelona as well. And obviously, Real Madrid went and snatched it last minute from the likes of Arsenal and Barcelona to go to Real Madrid. And I've been following his career to understand his hype. And trust me, there's so much he's showing that he's not shown yet. He's shown in flashes. And now it's about bringing all those qualities in together. He's a goal scoring midfielder who hasn't scored enough goals yet. He's a guy who can take set pieces and score them effectively and consistently, but he's not yet done that. So there's still areas to his game once he kind of polishes them off. Look, he's 20. Do you know what we forget because of how good he is? He's only 23, 24. You know, he's got years on him. He's got absolute years to go before he even reaches the peak of his powers. So, man, I'm so happy. 30 million. The guy's the captain, wants to stay here. I can't appreciate this guy enough.
Boom. You know what? That is exactly what I would say also. People saying Ozil regen. You know what? Maybe we should relax with the Ozil regen part, but you know what? He's definitely has heights that he can reach similar to an Ozil. But at this moment in time, he's a little far away. Jim
Yeah,
Amubarak,
but so he could definitely go beyond Özil though. He has the
100%.
he has the mentality, which I don't think, respectfully to Özil, I don't think he managed to maintain that. I think Odegaard, yeah, could definitely go beyond Özil. Let's not joke. You know, Özil was a serious footballer. But you'd argue that Odegaard's game is a bit more balanced, and he's able to do both sides of the game a lot better than Ozil. So I think from a longevity perspective, I think that means he can perform consistently at the top level for longer. Whereas as we saw with Ozil, he kind of just fizzled out beyond 30. But yeah, I just wanted to say that because I think Odegaard is something super special. And as Sol said, he's still like 24, which is, crazy young. So he's still got 2-3 years till he reaches his peak.
Okay. Let's talk about some controversial topics. Okay. First things first. Before we go into Mikel Arteta's press conference, he spoke about some key topics. He spoke about Gabriel Jesus' return. He spoke about Emile Smith Rowe. He spoke about Balogun's future. He spoke about all these 3 topics. But out of all of them, the one that caught my eye and made me think, you know what, this is the most controversial is Emile Smith Rowe's injury. Ladies and gentlemen, Emile Smith Rowe hasn't played at all almost this season. It's been a lot of trauma with him. And Emile Smith Rowe will not be fit versus Brentford this weekend. Rumor has it that he missed the last 2 games due to some groin problems, according to Charles Watts. Potentially also could be a thigh issue because I was hearing rumors about that also. But what do we honestly believe is going to happen with Emile Smith Rowe at this moment in time? And some people even calling for him to be sold in the summer if he cannot stay fit at any point throughout the season. So is that very reactionary? What do we think, ladies and gentlemen? Because in my opinion, Emile Smith Rowe to be sold is a little bit too early to be talking about selling him. Let him at least come back and let's see how he plays when he gets a little bit of run of game. But if he can't get fit, and it's like next year, then maybe. At this moment in time, when you have a long-term injury like that, you have to give the person an opportunity to at least get back to fitness. But yeah, Emile Smith Rowe to be sold in the summer, I think that's crazy talk. What do you guys think?
Go on, Sols.
Yeah, I'm fucking fuming at that fan base. I am actually steaming. How stupid can you be? Do you know when I talk about people not having the ability to have rational conversations? That's what I associate to people who want to sell ESR. Now, I know I'm going to be digging them out, but I'll openly challenge any one of you to have a debate with me on why ESR should be sold, other than the fact that he's injured. Now, when you look at it, Martinelli was also injured for a very long time, and guess what happened to him? He's come back and become a superstar. One of the best players this season. What happened to him? People were saying Arteta hates him, Arteta doesn't like him, Arteta this, Arteta that. He comes back 10 times the player he was before his injury. Sometimes, you know what, you have to trust what we're doing. Sometimes you have to stop questioning every decision we're making. Yes, he's injured for a long time. Yes, he's been, out. You do realize he was the reason we even had a turning point at one point. 2021 against Chelsea, Boxing Day. He was the sole reason we even had a bounce. He was the sole reason this project even had the ability to restart. And people want to disrespect the kid because he had an injury. Imagine Liverpool did that to Steven Gerrard. Imagine the amount of countless young players we would never be able to see again if we just have sat there and looked at their injuries and said, that's it, sell them. How can we not repay him the faith? I think he deserves that personally. He's been vital last season, off the bench, double figures goals. The guy contributes. The guy is one of the, and do you know what my nickname for him is? He's the babyface assassin. The guy doesn't look like one, but he's a killer. The best finisher at the club. You can debate this on it, but his conversion is one of the best in the league right now. When he comes on the pitch, you know he's scoring. There is no doubt in your mind when he's on that pitch, there's a goal coming for ESR. And you want to sit there and tell me this is the guy you want to sell. This is the faith you want to repay to the one of our own, Hale and Boy. And you want to sit there because he had an injury. That's it. We give up. Let him come back. And do you know what? I can't fucking wait because those people are going to apologize once again for getting it wrong and for being stupid, for being reactionary. When we don't need to be, we're top of the league. We can allow players to come back. I don't understand what the panic's about. We're in a position where, yes, you know what? We need him back. I understand that. And I get if it's more serious than we're letting on to be, then yeah, it could possibly, devalue what we can get out of him. Right now, we probably could get 50, 60 million. But if it's worse than we think, it could go down to 30. But I'm not willing to give up on a player who's done so much for us. So for me, ESR cannot be sold because he is one of our better players. Give the guy a chance to come back. Stop ripping the youth. You know, just because it favors your agendas, just because you might have a player you prefer, we've got to have some faith, man, especially to a kid who made somewhat of a season look. It made the season look better. We could have been relegation battling if it wasn't for ESR. That number 10, he comes in and does what he does. Man, I can't believe the fans. Honestly, that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, what about you, my guy? Go ahead, Harry.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get the frustration because he has been injured a lot this season. But I believe he is training. I saw a picture of him training today, so I don't think it's a long-term injury. I think it's a case of just easing him back in to make sure that it doesn't reoccur. I think he's too good of a player to write off, and I think maybe because we're top of the league, people are thinking, "Oh, we don't need him. You know, let's get rid of him. Let's bring someone else in." But similar to like a Jack Wilshere or a Rosicky, or even going further back, a Diaby, some players are too good just to let go, and you keep them hoping that one day they find their fitness. And if they do find their fitness, you know you've got a great player. But yeah, I think it's way too soon to start talking about selling ESR. I just think we have to be a little bit patient with him. And when he comes back, it's going to be like having a brand new signing. And I think it's also easy to forget how impactful he was and how good he can be. When you think of games last season, Spurs at home, you know, when he played left wing, setting up Aubameyang and Aubameyang setting him up. I mean, he was on fire that game. So I think he's a player to be really excited about. He was in the England squad not too long ago before his injury. So, yeah, he's up there with one of the top young players, and he's got as much ability as Saka and Martinelli. He just hasn't had the chance to show it. So, yeah, definitely keep patient with him. I mean, we've kept our patience with players a lot worse than Emile Smith Rowe, a lot worse, you know. So he's at an age where hopefully these niggling injuries can be behind him and he can push on. But there's no doubt it's frustrating.
Yeah, Steven Gerrard had the same injury.
I just want to continue with the Mikel Arteta press conference because we're 17 minutes in and we're only on one topic. So I'm just going to breeze through some of these topics and you guys pick which one you want to jump on. We're not going to have time for everyone to jump on each one. So first, Austin Trusty. Not really much to be said about Austin Trusty here, but I'm just going to show you guys what Mikel Arteta was saying. Mikel Arteta was speaking about how good of a season he was having, and he's just saying how he's playing at Birmingham City and he's having a good season. He also spoke about Jesus and gave us a little update on Jesus. We need to respect some timelines, some processes. He's going to do well. You have to see now. You put some load on that knee and put some movement and how it reacts. So basically saying there's no timetable yet on his injury. He also spoke about Balogun and his future. He's just happy, obviously, with what he's doing. He's still on a long-term contract, so no hints of selling him yet, right? Then he spoke. I love this part. He spoke about Manchester City, and he's like, "Oh, not thinking about the Manchester City fixture. His only focus right now is on Brentford tomorrow." And when asked about the title, he specifically says Arsenal on a title on the title race. He says, big pause. He says, I'm an energy giver. I don't like energy suckers." And then he also goes on and speaks about Saliba's contract situation, Saka's contract situation. He said they will do some way that we dealt with Gabby's deal. We'll deal with the rest. These things take some time. Basically saying these things take some time. We'll wait and see. Mikel Arteta speaking about injuries. Emile Smith Rowe, Reece Nelson, Gabby Martinelli are all out versus Brentford. And that's pretty much it. Didn't really talk about anything else. I think he spoke about rotation a little bit, but we're going to talk about rotation in a bit, as you can see here with the picture of Trossard coming in for Martinelli. But yeah, that is just to end off Mikel Arteta's press conference. There was a lot to touch on there. I think one of the key points to touch on is Gabriel Jesus' return. He's back in the training ground. Good to see. He's going to be back soon, but they're not going to rush him. I love that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's right. I think that's testament to Eddie Nketiah as well, because Eddie's done so well, so we can gradually bring Jesus back in. We definitely miss Jesus, or Jesus for sure. That really showed in games like Everton, where it's a little bit flat. You miss his energy, his tenacity, his aggression. But it's certainly one we don't want to rush back because, as obvious as it sounds, we only have 2 strikers. I know we think Martinelli can play central, but Arteta hasn't done that in a long time. So we're kind of void of options, right? Even against Everton, you're thinking this game isn't going well, and we didn't really have anything off the bench to drive us going forward. So I'll be really keen to get Jesus back, because then we can obviously use Eddie as a really good impact sub.
Yo, quick question. 50 million for Emile Smith Rowe. You guys selling?
No.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's a decent fee. I don't know.
I'm just gonna look at it this way.
What would you do, Adele?
Emile Smith Rowe last season, with the goals that he scores and the contributions that he has, being 22 years old and still being under a massive contract, I think 50 million is undervaluing him. I honestly do, because look at the market. Look at how crazy it is.
Oh no, I mean, I'm basing it on the hypothetical that I don't know how he'll be from an injury perspective. If you're going to tell me for the next 4 or 5 years he's going to have a similar injury pattern, then I think you'd accept that. But obviously we don't know that, and that would be speculation. So I'm saying it, as of now, 50 million for a player who has had a few injury problems, and that might continue, isn't terrible. But yeah, I don't think I would accept it, but it's a fair question.
You know what? Based on Jesus's projections, he was supposed to be back around this time of the year. So he might be behind on schedule based on the fact that he was scheduled to be back early February. It looks like he might be back late February now, and he's going to most likely miss the Man City game midweek. I was hoping that he'd be ready for that Man City game. But yeah, guys, just before we move on to anything else, Balogun, do we keep or sell Balogun?
Keep. Because we need forward options.
I sell Balogun. I sell him due to the fact that I feel like we can get a reasonable good fee for him. I don't think he's part of Mikel Arteta's short-term plan. Maybe in the long term we can get a buyback or a sell-on clause in the deal, so we can have the opportunity to either bring him back or to at least get a fee from the next sale that he does. And for me, if we sell Balogun right now, we can then reinvest that money into another midfielder or something else. I just feel like Balogun in the short term will not be helping us too much, because I view Eddie Nketiah as good as Balogun at this moment in time. And I'm not judging the French league too much, but let's be honest, Lacazette is the second highest leading goal scorer, and we know none of us would have Lacazette back.
No, but it's a different. I know it's a different ball game, but it's about understanding the profile of player as well, and that's something we don't possess. And he's a pure number 9. He's a clinical finisher, and he's going to bring a bag of goals with a mentality that matches the squad. I don't think it's the right thing to sell him, just because the profile of player that we look at in Balogun, in terms of just being a tall, strong, physical, he's not so much of a target man, but he's a versatile target man. And he can come in deep. He can do what Lacazette was doing for us, taking the ball on. But if you really need him to go up front, he's a hybrid of the two. And he's got pacing behind if you need it. He's a game-changing substitution. And don't forget, we're going into the Champions League. If we win the league or not, we're still playing Champions League football next season. You need 2 strong 11s with strikers who can play. You need to have wingers who can play. You can't rotate Champions League and expect to do something in it. So it's not a Europa League where you take the group stages as a joke and allow your under 23s to kind of play that. You need to have your starting players, or as good as your starting players as possible. So keep him. We need the squad next season, and he's proving he deserves an opportunity as much as any other player does.
Yeah, just quickly as well. No, very quickly, and also then it's about squad balance and then happiness, right? So if Jesus comes back in and takes Nketiah's place, whilst I agree we want 3 options at least, or 2 options at least, if Nketiah knows next year, I gave it all I could last season, and I'm still behind Jesus, and it will be Nketiah looking for a move for first team football, and then it'll be Balogun replacing him. So I think that's more likely to happen, is that Eddie Nketiah leaves next season, or leaves in a year's time, and then Balogun replaces Nketiah as a backup striker.
Okay. The next thing, strap up, get ready. This is crazy. Arsenal in the summer could do a madness. Now, I don't know how much I believe of this, but the article states that Stan Kroenke is tipped to complete 4 potential transfers this upcoming summer, one of them including Declan Rice. Potential of Jude Bellingham is always up in the air. Imagine Arsenal win the league and we now have the financial muscle. We're in the Champions League, just coming off the back of winning a league title. Imagine Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham joining this Arsenal team. We haven't spent ridiculous money in the midfield yet. That would be 2 ridiculous signings financially. Let's be honest. The likelihood of it happening, I don't really know. But what I will tell you is the article is actually from it's from Will Freeman on Football London, and he states that Arsenal are interested in Declan Rice, Musa Caicedo, James Maddison, and Jude Bellingham. And as we know, at this moment in time, Arsenal are probably fifth on the list of teams that could get Jude Bellingham. But we have a 16-1 chance of getting him. And Declan Rice, we basically have a 9-4 chance. That means the odds are in our favor, 9-4, that Declan Rice lands at our house. Crazy. That's almost like, what is that? Almost 50%, like 45% chance of him joining Arsenal. But yeah, I just thought this was an interesting talking point. What do you guys think? Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, would you guys break the bank on these guys in the summer?
Oh, 1,000,000%. I'd break the bank on Declan Rice. I'm actually really confident that we're going to get Declan Rice. I think that's mainly down to Chelsea's downfall, Liverpool's downfall. Whilst Man United have definitely got better, it's still uncertain as how quickly they're going to compete at the very top of the league. I think for us, we can provide Declan Rice with a guaranteed title challenge and Champions League football next season. So I'm confident we'll get Declan Rice. I think he really likes the project. I think he likes Arsenal and Arteta and Saka. Jude Bellingham, I'm unsure of. Sorry, my cats are going crazy. Yeah, Jude Bellingham, I'm unsure of because he's like at an age where, Declan Rice has been a bit of a slow burner, right? He's taking his time to get the plaudits. Jude Bellingham is that wonder kid already. So he could go to Madrid, Barcelona tomorrow and be that poster boy at the 2 biggest clubs in the world. But if we could sign both of them, then yeah, that'd be amazing. Jude Bellingham is something else. Like, he's ridiculous. But as is Declan Rice, they're both incredible footballers. And I think Declan Rice has potential to be so much more than what we see currently at West Ham. I think if he wants to be more of a box-to-box or goal-scoring midfielder, he can be, because he drives with the ball. He can shoot. Long-range passing is a joke. He can receive the ball. And I think if he came to Arsenal, he'd be an amazing signing.
Okay, go ahead, Consoles. Do you have
Hey,
anything?
Kroenke's defo's been looking at my Twitter, You know how long I've been standing for these 2 to come to Arsenal? Now, Harry knows, me and George have been standing for Declan Rice, especially to come to Arsenal, and said that he'd be the catalyst for change for what we need to do. And when it comes to Jude Bellingham, I mean, the guy is a machine. Whatever kind of position you want to play him in, he can play as a dynamic number 6 if you need him to play a slightly different role. If you want to play him as sort of an advanced playmaking number 8 in terms of in that Xhaka type role, he can definitely do that and bring a bag of goals, especially in the pressure situations, and allow sort of someone like an Odegaard to drop deeper and dictate games and tempo from deep. And then when you add someone like a Declan Rice to this team, fucking hell. Do you know what? You may as well say goodbye to that league title, because that's coming to Arsenal every single season. That's our league-winning midfield. No one is beating that midfield. You're never going to beat it. You're looking at pressure resistance. You're looking at the ability to pass like mad. You're looking at young, energetic, dual monsters, really.
Who starts? Do they both start?
Yeah, you can play them both. You play Bellingham in an 8, where Xhaka plays, and then you play Declan Rice as a lone 6. Play Odegaard where Odegaard's playing. Simple. You're not beating that midfield, fam. You are not beating that midfield. That midfield is taking you home to the cleaners. It's making you cry. It's going to give you nightmares.
On the bench is Thomas Partey, Granit Xhaka, Fabio.
Yeah, but he can play as well. It's a minor thing. Don't matter who you play. Imagine this, right? Give you a scenario, right? You're playing a game. We're one of the quickest starters in the league this season.
What?
So you're like 1 or 2-0 up. And Thomas Partey's been playing. You're like, all right, okay, Thomas Partey's like getting tired, whatever. Declan Rice comes on. You're like, fucking hell, now we've got to deal with Declan Rice. Then, yeah, you're like, okay, Granit Xhaka's been causing a bit of chaos. Now I've got to deal with Jude Bellingham. Like, you get what I mean? Like, that to me is how you go win the Champions League, the Premier League, and compete on all fronts. And we're at a stage in the project where we're not just going to buy anyone. It's going to be big signings now. We can afford to pay 100 million, 120 million and bring one player in, because you can bring 2 to 3 players, and that's a good window for us, because it's not about just adding to the team. It's about bringing the quality up in the team and having the current starters potentially become rotation players. Like, we know we could upgrade on Granit Xhaka. I know Granit Xhaka has been a superb player this season, actually arguably one of the best midfielders in the league. But we know we can upgrade on him, and we can bring Xhaka as a sort of a leader to come in for Premier League games and rotate out in the Champions League. So bringing someone like a Jude Bellingham is still going to bring plenty of opportunities. But you're getting me too excited. I'm not getting ahead of myself,
Relax. People.
But whoever said Savage is better than both, and that fam.
Chill. That is one touch moving mad in the chat. People saying Jude and Declan Rice coming to Arsenal. I don't think it's going to happen. Let's be relaxed. Let's chill. But I need to paint the picture, guys. Arsenal are currently one of the best teams in Europe, and we've done it with Ben White playing a lot of games, Gabriel Martinelli playing a lot of games, Thomas Partey playing a lot of games. Is it time to rotate some of these key pieces in the team? Is it time that Mikel Arteta makes some changes and tweaks to the lineup? Because in my opinion, if we continuously play the same team week in, week out, eventually we're going to see a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of a drop off. I think it's time for rotation. And this is why I wanted to bring this topic up. We're going to have to make a little bit of changes. Not a lot. We don't have to make too many changes, but just a little bit. I feel like this is a moment where we can take the fact that we signed we have Gabriel Martinelli, and we can bring on Trossard. We take advantage of that, and we do the substitution. We didn't sign Trossard for no reason. We think he's good enough to start. Also, we don't have Tomiyasu in the team for no reason. He's a good backup left back and a good backup right back. Give Ben White an opportunity to on the bench ahead of the big Man City game. Against Brentford at home, this is our opportunity to rotate the squad. And I think Mikel Arteta, you have an opportunity to give some of these key players a little bit of rest. Maybe not Thomas Partey, but at least this substitution that I'm looking at right here should take place on the weekend. What are you saying?
Yeah, I agree. I think the one thing that frustrated me about the Everton game was we didn't embrace the chaos of that game. And if anything, I was thinking, someone like Kieran Tierney would be good for this game, or someone like Tomiyasu would be quite good for this game as the game develops. We try to stay true to ourselves, carry on playing football, and it never worked against Everton. I think even though Brentford will allow us time to have the ball, and we probably could play as Zinchenko, White and Martinelli, and we'd probably win, I do think it's a good opportunity to rest some of those players. I think Arteta's managed Ben White's minutes really well this season. He's come off a lot of the games he's played for Tomiyasu, with 20 minutes to go. But I personally would look to rotate, Martinelli for Trossard, Zinchenko for Tierney, and Ben White for Tomiyasu. Just simply because the Man City game is huge, and I think we can get away with rotating a few players against Brentford. It's risky, but I think we need to do it with the Man City game in mind.
By the way, he's not injured. Nothing's wrong with the guy. I'm just merely stating the fact that I feel like it's a good idea to not necessarily start him in this game.
But also, let's be honest, Martinelli hasn't been great recently. He struggled one-on-one. He struggled with his final product. I think it's right to take him out. And then if the game is a little bit tight, he can be an impact sub. If anything against Everton, whilst you have to start Martinelli because he's your first choice, those subs were the wrong way round. You're bringing Trossard on, who's quite a slower technical player, when the game needed energy, and you took Martinelli's energy off. Obviously, Martinelli struggled, but I think it works well to start Trossard and give Martinelli a bit of a rest. Give him a 20-minute, cameo where he can make an impact, and then he's fresh for Man City. Because I think someone like Martinelli can hurt Kyle Walker because it'll make it uncomfortable for him. So I think he's got to be fresh for that Man City game. Let's not underestimate the importance of going into that Man City game with our strongest 11, like fully fit, ready to go. So if you can give Zinchenko 90 minutes to rest, knowing that he can focus on that Man City game, I think that's really, really vital, because the Man City game is huge, like absolutely huge. I'd rather take a point against Brentford and beat Man City, because I think the Man City win will be a statement of intent.
It's not only about Martinelli and Trossard. By the way, Martinelli's fully fit, and it's not about that. But there's also this one, Ben White and Tomiyasu. Someone told me in a group chat today, "You're crazy to bench Ben White." No, we have a squad. We should use it. And Brentford at home is the opportunity to rotate and give certain players an opportunity off. Yes, Ben White's played a lot of games, and yes, you know what? He hasn't played as many games as the center backs. I'm not saying playing him in the center back position. I'm just saying give Tomiyasu an opportunity to start at right back, and let's see what happens. If anything, Tomiyasu can stay in the game for 90 minutes, and you can put him to the left and take Zinchenko off and bring Ben White on if we're winning. That's my point. I just feel like Ben White's played a lot of football. Give him an opportunity. Give Trossard an opportunity to start because Martinelli hasn't looked up to his scintillating best as of late. And you know what? That's my changes. Anyways, go ahead, Gunnar Souls. What are you saying?
For me, I mean, there's like two ways to look at it. I mean, trying to go into that game, and obviously we're playing 3 o'clock before Man City play their game against Aston Villa on a Sunday, 4:30. Now we can potentially go into the Man City game 8 points ahead with a game in hand over them. You know, the psychological pressure of them having to beat Aston Villa to then go and have to beat us is going to be a lot for them as well. I know people are going to say they've done it before. You know, you can't test their mentality. You can't, you know, they're not going to crumble, which is fair enough. But you've also got to understand the news that's come out this week in terms of the allegations against them. You know, a lot of the club is under pressure in terms of trying to keep everything ticking over. A lot of these players are probably thinking, what if they are guilty and they do get that, you know, sort of relegation from the Premier League? They might be questioning their futures at the moment as well. Now, I'm not saying that unprofessional, but you've got to have that thought in the back of your head that if a company like this could crumble or your employers could crumble, you're going to be looking to apply for other jobs and you're going to be speaking to your agent about what's actually going on here because the club may not be as transparent to the players as maybe what the agents are going to be. And so we've got to wait and see to see what Manchester City react to this situation and whether they go there and put an absolute statement performance against Aston Villa. At the same time, look, as a fan base, we're overlooking Brentford. You've got to understand they've had one draw and I think 4 to 5 wins in their last 6 to 7 games. They are on form. They are the team to beat at the moment. And I understand it's at the Emirates and we're the team to beat in the Emirates and we're on form. Granted, we had a loss against City and Everton coming into this game. But for us to kind of bounce back and not make this look like a crumbling and to show our bottle in this league, we have to win. And to do that, we need to play our best 11. But saying that, I don't think Martinelli's been one of our better players. He doesn't see, I know people are looking at all this position maps and he's isolated on the left hand side, he's not getting as much support, so we've got to cut him a bit of slack. But unfortunately, these are the games where I need to see something from you. When you look back at the sort of FA Cup game that we played when Zinchenko and Martinelli both got brought on, that changed the game. It looked like, okay, we could turn the tide and get a draw out of this game. So it's important for them to inject their energy and their sort of ability to press and retain the ball against Man City on that Wednesday fixture. But I need to see Arteta trust his squad. You know, he's the one who pivoted away from bringing Mudryk in, obviously losing them and hijacking them to Chelsea. He then asked for Trossard to come in. He asked for the likes of Jorginho to come in. Tomiyasu was his signing. So we need to start seeing the squad be trusted. I can't see 70, 80-minute substitutions every game. That game against Everton called for earlier substitutions. You could see Partey was struggling a little bit. Look, every player can have bad games. I'm not trying to dig them out as individuals. You know, you can see Martinelli wasn't at the races. You know, we can all see it that Tierney needed to play that game. So we need to play the situation. The best 11 has to play. I mean, if Trossard comes in for Martinelli, I'm fine with that. But for me, you've got to play your best 11. Forget about Man City. We're not playing them until Wednesday. That's a Wednesday problem. Right now, we've got Brentford. You're on mute. Can you hear him, Harry?
Can you hear me?
Oh, now we can. Yeah, now we can.
Yeah, this lineup is good enough. You got Ramsdale, you got Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Partey, Odegaard, Xhaka, Saka, Trossard, and Eddie Nketiah. I feel like Tomiyasu and Trossard coming in, all it does, it gives us two players who have something to prove. Two players who haven't been given a start in a while. Two players who are going to be starting at home with the fans, and Trossard having his first Arsenal start. I think this is a massive opportunity for these two guys to try to take their jobs, try to take Ben White and Gabriel Martinelli's jobs. Now, will they do it? Unlikely, but no better time to do some rotation and to utilize the squad. We have a squad for a reason. Pep Guardiola does a roulette of players, so his players are never really tired. I don't want our players to be leggy and tired on the second half of the season. I don't want our players to be absolutely on the floor. So hence, we should try to take the opportunities that we can to make small rotations, small tweaks. We don't have to do it every week, but this team right here is good enough to beat Brentford. This team right here is good enough to beat majority of the teams in the league. And even though Brentford are on a good run, I think you're underestimating how good of a run we're on at home.
100%. I think when you look at it tactically as well, Trossard and Zinchenko are probably a better pairing with the way they play, especially when you've got Eddie Nketiah in the team. Martinelli is suffering from Gabriel Jesus not being in the team, and we know when Jesus is in the team, Martinelli's actually our striker, and Jesus is more of the sort of channel runner in the team. Even though yes, he does get into middle positions and centre grounds, but when you bring a Trossard in, he's a naturally wide winger, such as a Saka. He's the one who's going to stretch the pitch, allowing Zinchenko to be an inverted fullback and not worry about him overlapping, because that's what Trossard's going to do. That's why when we looked at that game, we were like, yeah, this game is shouting for Tierney. We need Martinelli to gain a bit of support, because unfortunately, when you look at Martinelli, the worst thing about him is his head down movement. He doesn't look up enough for opportunities he's got to square the ball, to cross the ball, or what decision to make. So what he's having to do when he gets into those moments, he has to take an extra touch to set himself up to look at what's going on. And that's the only criticism I have. That's something he will learn and adapt. But Trossard makes sense with Zinchenko, and Tierney and Martinelli, for me, are the two pairings that should be playing. But yeah, I think that's good enough to beat them. And I think Trossard deserves to start. Let's see what he's about. Give him minutes to go into that Man City game in this system, because we're going to need him as an impact or to start. So it's vital for them to acclimatize to the team.
By the way, just before you go, Harry, we're going to get into our predictions soon. But did you guys see this before we went live? I didn't notice this. Emile Smith Rowe is back in full training, even though he's not fit.
Yeah. I mentioned that when I was talking about him. Yeah, so I don't think it's anything to worry about. I reckon he'll be back soon. Just to go back to our lineup, yeah, the only change I'd make is I would start Tierney. I love Zinchenko. He's probably my favourite player this season. I think he's absolutely amazing, the best left back in the league. He's a cheat code. He's incredible. But I think this is a game where you can get away with not starting him. And I know it's risky, but I'm conscious that we obviously need to give Kieran Tierney some minutes as well. Don't get me wrong; he'll probably start Zinchenko.
Honestly,
we'll win the game, and then he'll bring on Tierney with 20 minutes to go.
Mikel Arteta's backup right back and backup left back is Tomiyasu. Kieran Tierney is third on the list for left back. That's the reality.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just miss this is a game at home where you could probably get away with starting Kieran Tierney. Like as we saw against Man City away, starting Kieran Tierney, we missed Zinchenko so much. As soon as Zinchenko came on, then suddenly we were dominating possession even more than what we were previously. Zinchenko allows you to do that. But I think we'll have enough of the ball and we'll be confident enough to dominate the game against Brentford without Zinchenko. So you probably can start Kieran Tierney. And listen, if you can't start Kieran Tierney at home in the Premier League against a team outside of the top six, then when are you going to start Kieran Tierney? Surely this is a perfect game for him to start at home.
Describe me what Kieran Tierney reminds me of.
Show you guys the lineup. 1 second. I just want to show you guys. This is the projected lineup that they have for Arsenal. Unchanged for Arsenal and unchanged for them also. They're going to be setting up almost similar to how Everton were set up against us. Everton just had one more defender. Brentford had one more attacker instead, and they have a back three. So we could be facing that 3-5. We could be facing that 3-5 low block at home with just two attackers in the final third.
One touch makes a really good point here about using your squad players, and I think this is a perfect example for it. But it's just my opinion, and I would I'm a massive fan of Zinchenko. Like I say, I agree with you in terms of Tomiyasu probably being our second choice left back over Kieran Tierney. And I actually think Kieran Tierney will probably look to move next summer because I think he'll just be frustrated by the lack of minutes. But I do think this is a game where you can start him because I think you can just get away with it. I'm not underestimating Brentford at all, but I feel confident enough in our midfield to say we can beat them. But we'll see. We'll see what Arteta does.
Brentford actually had better form than us recently.
No, yeah, I know. No, I know. I'm not discrediting Brentford, but I certainly believe that our front six is enough to dominate the game, meaning that we can get away with starting Kieran Tierney.
Let's take it back 3-0 at the community centre, wherever they call it, and that was with a rotated 11. By the way, we had Fabio Vieira playing that game, we had Kieran Tierney playing that game, and I can't remember who else was out for that game. But yeah, we had Vieira. Yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, we had Jesus, Saka. So we had two players out of that team who are the core to everything that ticks. So it's not out of the realms of possibility that we can beat them with a rotated type 11. But also, what you got to understand about Kieran Tierney, for me, he is that sort of Allegri substitution where when Juventus were playing Spurs in the Champions League, I think it was in 2018 or it might have been 2017, Allegri in the first half made two substitutions, which are bringing on two fullbacks, and he changed the game. That's what Kieran Tierney can do for us at a fullback position. He's completely different to what Zinchenko offers. He's a wide threat, an attacking threat, who is good on the one-on-one defensive duels as well. So it's about utilizing him in the best way, which is bringing him on as an impact sub. Tomiyasu is more of a shut-off. He's a closer in games. If you're winning the game comfortably and you just need to bring control into the defensive areas, that's when you bring in a Tomiyasu into it. But when you look at it, even if you look at someone like a David Raya, for example, at Brentford, there's talks about him rejecting a second contract renewal. So that's definitely, his head is being turned by a few clubs there. Aaron Hickey was someone that we were linked to. That's going to be a brilliant battle for the left-hand side to see how they handle Aaron Hickey. Odegaard has been an absolute beast for them this season. Ivan Toney's been on fire. I think he's second or third top goal scorer within the league this season. Ben Mee, Pinnock. We know these defenders can cause us issues. So I just think go as strong as you can. I don't mind a Trossard and a Tomiyasu coming in, but don't make this into sort of a let's just rotate because we have City. No, we need to just beat Brentford, forget that Man City are on the table, and just go into this as it's the only game of the season, and we move.
Fair enough. Is there anything else that we need to say before we go into the predictions, people? Give me your predictions in the comment section. I'm just going to say Mikel Arteta put his hands up and said, I don't got nothing to do with the Man City stuff. I don't know nothing. And my play, I think he said, he didn't say that specifically, but he said something across those lines. Like, I'm not too particularly sure what's going on at City or something like that. Where is it? Let me see. Yeah, here it is. He's like, no comment from Arteta on the Man City charges. He says he never saw anything towards while he was there. So what else do you expect him to say? Yeah, I've seen it. They did it. No. so he's gonna always come out with that. So people, give me your score predictions. Let's get straight into the predictions. For me, I'm saying we're gonna slap them. I'm just gonna put it out there. We're gonna go out there. It's gonna be an easy job, no question about it. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna be up 2-0 early, and I just feel like we're gonna hold on to it. Maybe they try to get one back, and the scoreline ends 3-1. That's what I feel like. But realistically, I would want it to be a clean sheet, just for fantasy purposes. Double game week. Arsenal. I got a lot of Arsenal players in my fantasy team. Hopefully, we keep a clean sheet. Hopefully, Gabriel Jesus scores a goal. Love to see Gabriel Jesus score a goal versus Brentford. He seems to have taken the Brentford loss a couple years ago personal, and I love it whenever he tweets after a game. But for now, we need to stop the beef with Brentford. After this game, when we win, we shouldn't be tweeting Ivan Toney, good kickabout with the boys or something like that. We shouldn't be doing that. We're past that now. We're on the next level. No more of that. Let's celebrate the win and move on. Hopefully, your cat's in the frame, just chilling.
I know. Do you know what? There's a glass on the counter, and usually when he sees a glass, he just like pushes it until it falls off. So I'm just telling him, do not touch the glass, but he won't.
Anyways, go ahead. What
he's well trained.
Talk to me.
I'm torn. I feel like it could be one of those tight games on a Saturday, early Saturday, So I'm torn between like a 1-0, but then I agree. I feel like if we're on it from the off, and I think the squad are going to be really motivated to impress because there's no doubt that the past 2 results have been frustrating. So yeah, I'm gonna go 3-0. I'm gonna go 3-0, but I think it'll probably be 3-1. I really want us to keep a clean sheet. I think we can see too many cheap goals. So yeah, I'm gonna say 3-0. 3-0, and I think it's gonna be an Eddie. Let's go with an Eddie hat trick. Yeah.
Eddie hat trick. Woo!
Nketiah hat trick 3-0.
Let's get it. Yo, people, do me a favor. We got 60 of you guys watching. Do me a big favor. YouTube algorithm's been hurting your boy lately. Ever since the transfer window has been done, you guys haven't been showing the love. Do me a favor. Show the love. Hit that like button. Any questions, comments, or concerns, if you're watching this back on the live replay, let us know. Gunner Souls, you're the last one of the day. Let me know your score predictions. Let me know what's going to happen. And you know what? Are we going to go 8 points clear of Manchester City on Saturday?
Do you know what's going to happen this weekend? And this is not a prediction, but a spoiler. We're going to show Man City exactly who we are this season. We are the champions of England. The champions of England once again.
Souls, it's too early. It's too early to be saying
England
that.
is red. England will become red. Do you know how sick this title parade is going to be? This is going to be one where even as a rival you should attend, because it's going to be one of the littest things you'll ever see. And you know what? We might have lost last week to Dicey Ball, to Everton, but this is where we bounce back. We turn the doubters into lovers. This is the time where we show Man City that you've got a problem on Wednesday. You might have thought you won this mental battle, this sort of mind games that you played with the 1-0 win on FA Cup. This is going to be a different monster, a different beast coming to you. And you know what, Brentford? Unfortunately, you're going to be the victim of Arteta ball. You're going to come to our ground, play your football, come to us, and we're just going to dismantle you. We're going to give you a slow, painful death. And Man City are going to be looking at not just the charges that they're facing, but the fact they have to come on Wednesday and play this Arsenal team. The rejected Man City players, they said, Zinchenko, Mikel Arteta, coming back once again to show them who the real champions are. This is going to be easy work, light work, and guess what? Thomas Frank, bring it on. I can't wait to play a team that wants to play football against us because you're going to get played around and it's going to be a 4-0 win.
I'm just going to say this. Couldn't say it better myself. People saying some clip one of this. Smoke settings, clip it. Post it on Twitter right now, and I will retweet it. I don't care. Go ahead.
You know how many times people have said clip it? I'm yet to look bad this season. And you know when I said we're going to win the league? I've been saying it since December. No, actually November. So keep doing it because you know what? The more you want to clip me, the more it becomes a truth. So
there you go. Big up. I'm just going to say this. The part where he said the Man City thing, that right there. People are still waiting for Manchester City to go on this massive run and overtake Arsenal. Jesus got injured. We were supposed to fall off. It still hasn't happened. We were supposed to have a terrible squad and not even finish 4th. But yeah, it is what it is, guys. This has been a great stream. Oh, Harry's on mute. What'd you say?
Oh, sorry.
You're off mute. You're off mute.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I think Emery does a favour for us on Sunday, to be honest. I've got a feeling Aston Villa will go there and get a point. I do. I've got this feeling. And obviously, they've got a day less rest than us as well, right? Which is something I forgot about. So their turnaround is Sunday.
I'm 4:30, by the way. So the latest kickoff you can have.
Yo, people.
Yeah, so
it's getting interesting, very interesting. And you know what? I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said. You guys have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm out of here. Big up Gunner Souls for jumping on. Big up Harry for jumping on. We need to make this a weekly thing. I love the positivity from you guys. Today, I asked people a question. Are you more pessimistic or optimistic? I can gladly say I know what both you guys are. You guys are both optimistic.
Hey, we're top of the league, man. We're top of the league. I was optimistic when we had Bellerin, Kolasinac, Mustafi, Ceballos in our team. So of course I'm going to be optimistic now. I mean, it's the only way to be.
I was on a stream earlier this season with somebody. I forget his name. Oh no, why am I saying I forget his name? Northside, my guy Northside. He was saying this team's terrible. We're gonna be lucky if we finish top 4. so you know what? I'm happy.
Wait, when did he say this?
This was going into the North London derby when we were still undefeated.
What, the one at Spurs?
No, wow, at home. Okay. At home.
Oh, the home one. Okay, but that was early in the season. Fair enough. Okay.
Anyways,
Yeah.
people, we're out of here. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. Big up to everyone in the chat. Smoke settings. I better see that tweet. I better see that clip. Because you're talking about this clip. You guys don't got nothing in the chamber. But yeah, let's get this show started. Yeah, I mean, let's get this show over with. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. Questions, comments, concerns in the chat, people. You already know what it is. And make sure you go check out some of my old videos. And I'm putting out shorts for you guys. I'm putting out content every single second. I'm even doing fantasy content. What's going on, people? Show your boy some love. We're out of here. You guys have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. And you know what? Love and support to all you guys. Hey, enjoying the show. Yes, I think Man City is going to run if the game in June. What? Orange face flowering. What is that? What emoji is that? Anyways, I'm out of here, people. Have yourselves a wonderful one. Peace. Gunner's Hole.